As 112 climbed the charts, trouble started creeping in. It all began in 1999, when Puff Daddy, as he was known back then, found himself tangled up in legal issues, just another chapter in the roller coaster life of Diddy. Meanwhile, the members of 112 were starting to question their place in the bad boy empire. After all, they'd already tasted success, and without Puff in the picture, they started wondering if it was time to cut ties. But the real eye-opener came when they realized their financial situation didn't match the fame and fortune they were supposedly raking in. Sure, they were on top of the charts, touring the world, and living the celebrity lifestyle. But when it came down to the numbers, things didn't add up. Despite all the glitz and glamour, the group's lifestyle was far from the luxurious dream it seemed to be. And that's when things started to get real for 112. They recently spilled some seriously wild tea about their time at Bad Boy. And trust me, it's nothing like the picture-perfect image of fame you'd expect. It wasn't just a rough ride, it was downright brutal. We're talking about midnight studio sessions in the middle of a blizzard, constant demands, physical confrontations, and a level of control that felt suffocating. One of the most shocking moments they shared was an unforgettable night at the studio. It was 1 a.m., and the group had been grinding all night in the middle of a fierce blizzard. They decided to call it a night, thinking they could finally get some rest, only to hear relentless banging on the door at 4 a.m., and that was just the beginning. Let's dive deeper into the real story behind 112's time with Diddy, and what ultimately drove them to break free from his grip. I remember a time when we thought we were finished, and we left the studio around 1. It was snowing out a damn blizzard at 4 or 5 in the morning. All of a sudden, bang, 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 he remembered. Diddy is at the damn door knocking it down. He came in and sat down, and was like, turn on all the lights, y'all asleep, y'all are happy with that record. Diddy's demands were relentless, and there was no room for rest or mercy. One of the most infamous moments was when he showed up at the studio in the middle of a snowstorm. The group had been grinding all night, and they were finally ready to call it a day. But then Diddy barged in, demanding they turn all the lights back on and get back to work. No rest, no excuses. He insisted that they keep pushing, regardless of the blizzard outside, no matter how exhausted they were. The pressure was unyielding, and it was clear that the only thing that mattered was delivering at any cost. But that wasn't the worst of it. Another time, after a grueling all-nighter in the same snowstorm, 112 was heading home, hoping to get some relief from the brutal conditions. As they trudged through the snow, Diddy rolled by in his luxury Benz, chains on the tires to handle the harsh weather. He honked his horn, waved, and then simply drove off, leaving them to fend for themselves in the freezing cold. It was a glaring reminder of who was really in control, and it certainly wasn't the artists who were doing the hard work. That snowstorm became a symbol of their struggles. As they were heading out, Diddy passed by in his car and, without missing a beat, rolled down his window to say, "I'll holler at y'all," before driving off into the night, leaving 112 to battle the storm on their own. But it didn't stop there. 112 also shared how Diddy would show up at their homes at all hours of the night, ringing their buzzers to drag them back to the studio, sometimes as late as 2 or 3 a.m. The members of 112 described themselves as walking zombies, struggling to keep their eyes open after long sessions. Parker even recalled begging, "Puff, we got school in an hour." But nothing stopped Diddy from pushing them harder. Q also remembered how, in the early days, Diddy would keep them working late into the night, no matter the toll it took on them. The demand for perfection was constant, and their well-being was secondary to the relentless drive for success. The pressure to deliver was immense, and it didn't seem to matter what it cost them. So many times we'd be asleep after a full day of recording, and he'd pull up in front of our apartment at 2 or 3 in the morning, ringing our apartment buzzer down in the lobby. Diddy wasn't one to back down. Occasionally, he'd offer some praise, telling them they were making history, but more often than not, it felt like he was pushing them to their absolute breaking point. It wasn't all glamorous, and the demands he placed on them were unrelenting. But here's the twist. When Diddy first set his sights on 112, most of the members were just teenagers, barely 16 or 17 years old. You'd think that such a pivotal meeting, one that could change their lives forever, would take place in a professional setting, maybe an office or a casual public space. But no, Diddy insisted